Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of HeroesHype Live. This show is all going to be about the Open Division, both EU and NA. We're going to look back, see, what surprised us, what looks really good. As you can see, it's not actually Haloran with me tonight. Haloran couldn't be here, and I have Dunkstick with me. If you remember him, he casted a couple weeks ago with us. So, Dunk, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Dunk, you might be muted, actually.
I was definitely muted. Rip.
Okay, we're good now. We recovered.
Sorry, guys. I muted myself in OBS. I am hosting tonight for my first ever HeroesHype Live. Excited to be here. Glad I could fill in for Haloran since he was unavailable tonight. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Ready to talk about some HGC Open.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Along with Dunkstick, I have another guest tonight who plays for ODI, an NA Open Division team, and I honestly don't know how to correctly pronounce your name. So if you would like to do that while you introduce yourself, that would be awesome.
Okay, so it's Dagomir. I've gone by like 4 name changes by now, for no specific reason, but I'm sticking to this one. I promised Dunk I wouldn't change it, so yeah, Dagomir basically.
Okay.
So.
So, if you would, tell us a bit about yourself and like your gaming history. Where do you come from? Like, why should people care about you? Good things, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm 22, Floridian. Support for ODI. You already know that. So basically, I just finished up in college, and for my next few months, the team and I are just trying to shoot for making it to HGC. In the meantime, I also want to stream content for Hero League because I just feel like there aren't many supports out there that are showing educational support streams. So I think on the side, I also want to do that, and I think I can help bring some more educational content to the scene.
Cool. I definitely agree. I don't think there's enough, educational content, especially for certain roles. There's a dime a dozen assassin players out there that one-trick Li Ming, but you don't see a lot of support players, especially creating content for everyone. So that's really cool. So to go with that, can you tell us a little bit about ODI? A lot of people want to know what it stands for, including myself.
Wait, did you tell that whole story without giving a shout out to your boy?
I thought shout outs were at the end.
Yeah, but I brought you on. Oh man, I introduced this guy to the amateur scene. Oh.
Yeah, he kind of did. I was gonna get into that, talking
That's
about past
fine.
experience.
Tell us what ODI stands for.
So, it's supposed to be like a little inside thing, man. ODI is just stands for Open Division Initiative. It's nothing.
Okay.
nothing.
I thought it was gonna be way cooler.
So ODI is basically Radian. He's the captain. Woven, Fancy Pants, Fleshy Bits, and I. And so the team is basically three months old, I want to say, and it's kind of a merge with the old TQ, who were like, I think somewhere in top 8, lower last season, and then East Coast Revolvers, which was my first team last season. Dunk actually got me into that team. He got me the tryout. Big shout out.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
Big shout out.
And yeah, basically, so East Coast Revolvers and TQ were old scrim partners, and basically half of us moved on. We wanted to keep playing, and then the other half of TQ wanted to like make a team because I think 2 of them had to quit or whatever. So some of us just merged with them, and we wanted to bring something new to the scene. I'm not trying to say anything like negative, but I just feel like it's always the same people at the top. Like it's all the amateurs that are well known. So yeah, we wanted them be the dark horse, come in and like show some new names.
Yeah, it's always good to like get that new blood in, because that it brings with it innovation. I think usually you'll get to a point where the game can get kind of stale, and seeing a new name come in and like shock everyone is always good, like no matter what it is, even if like they don't necessarily do amazing. Like just getting new experience, I guess, is good. for the scene. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome. You guys bringing the new stuff to it. Really happy to see you guys finish third for your first week. It's shows a lot of. I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys.
shows a lot of heart.
Shows a lot of heart. Shows a lot of talent. Shows a lot of talent. You guys definitely. I've seen the scrims. I've participated in the scrims. I definitely see you guys doing well with the Open.
Yeah, me too. Especially from the games that I saw. I think you guys are definitely, at least in the playoffs, if not pushing forward from that. So moving on from that, I wanted to talk a little bit about your experience in the Open Division. Obviously, you didn't play a heck of a lot last year.
Right.
As you say, this was your first team on East Coast Revolvers. So, how was your experience this week in the Open Division? Like, anything that you found particularly good? Like, just feedback, I guess, as a player from a player's perspective.
No, this week felt really great. Considering East Coast Revolvers, we kind of joined in late to Open Division, or at least like the roster that I was in did, and so we only ever hit like, I want to say like 10th or 9th at most. And it just felt really good. The last 3 months we've been scrimming really hard and trying out like, 1 or 2 specific comps we wanted to like master and bring in. And it was fun this week to see like all the big advancement we made. Like our communication from scrims and macros were definitely paying off. I think our macro decision was like the biggest thing that helped us like hold off like 3-level leads in the early rounds of the tournament. And it felt good seeing that, we're definitely standing somewhere with the rest of the like top 4, top 5 teams. So it was a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like from a viewer's perspective, it looked competitive. It looked good. So I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you guys.
Yeah, my question is gonna be a personal question for you. How do you feel you're holding up as a support player compared to the other sports that we're seeing right now in the Open? We're seeing some pretty big names in the top 2 teams.
I don't know. I'm a scrub, just getting carried on the support. No, I mean, I feel pretty confident, to be honest. I don't really feel like I've made any like huge errors. Occasionally in scrims we'll talk about like, oh, maybe you should have saved your cleanse, or maybe instead of like cleansing the judgment, you just de-shield. Just little things here and there. But I think I've been working on climbing in Hero League, and we take the time off aside from scrims to just kind of like look at comps we want to run, and like, we'll go to like an AI game and work off the mechanics of specific heroes. So like, for me that means I'm gonna keep running this hero and like, timing my cleanse right, timing my shield right. So I think honestly I feel like I'm holding up pretty damn well, to say so myself.
Good, yeah. It looked it. I'm playing with you for a long time, and night and day difference. I really think you've moved past the days of not being able to hit a stun target with Malfurion roots.
All right, I'm out.
Dude, no flame dunk, no flame.
No, he's right. I came into the game back in beta, and I didn't have much MOBA experience. I mean, I played League for like a minute, right? And yeah, dude, no, Dunk really helped me out learning how to play the game.
Cool.
Awesome.
So, moving forward, I wanted to move into our Open Division segment, because that's what we're going to be talking about mostly on this show. If you guys didn't know, we're moving a little bit compared to our previous shows where we kind of just had an open discussion, which I still want to do. I'm still going to be interacting with chat, and if you have any questions, bring them up and I'll read them, or Dunk will read them, and we'll talk about it, we'll discuss it. But we're primarily, basically 100% going to be focused on the Open Division and talking about that. So, going forward, I want to move to EU. I know, Dunk, you and I both watched it. I was adminning for it, so I didn't always get to watch every minute of the game. But the finals were actually quite exciting, I think. It's Team Singularity against Manticore. I was a little surprised with Manticore making it to the finals over Valhalla. I'd been watching Valhalla through the tournament, and I think that with players like Arcane and Tank for the Win, I thought they would, really show up. And the few games that I did watch, they did. They looked really good. I guess we're pressing F in the chat for some reason.
I see the crowd.
Oh no. Anyway, I was a little surprised that they didn't make it, but I'm not sad because that means the Manticore played really well. And watching them in the finals, Singularity, I think, at least after the first game, I don't remember if it went. Did it go 3 games or was it 2?
It went 3. It went.
Yeah, Manticore.
Valhalla and Manticore 2-0'd Valhalla, and then Manticore was 1-2'd by Singularity.
Yeah. So Manticore won the first game, I remember, and then Singularity kind of started to take over. And even in the first game, I think Singularity had, a little bit of control, but Manticore did a pretty good job. So I have the bracket here. I wanted to look at the players because I wanted to give a shout out to one of them.
I had to go through all of the EU games to get caught up because I did not know HGC Open started this week until Argy told me. So I missed the first day where the games. Sorry, my dog is pulling on my crowded cord. I pretty much watched them without seeing the spoilers. I didn't want to know the spoilers. I'm like, I need to see for myself who's going to win the Open this week for EU. From game 2 of watching Singularity play, I was like, if they don't win this Open, their EU is way better than NA at this point. I said from the get-go, and I even texted Argy, I'm almost positive Singularity wins this, and I do not know who wins it in the end.
Yeah. I think Singularity is a lot of people that played in the Nexus games in the fall. I remember specifically Canuti, and that's how you say his name, by the way. For anyone that wants to know. I'm pretty sure. If I am wrong and he's watching this, tell me, because my last name is also KNU, so that's why I think it's pronounced that way. Anyway, I thought he played fantastically, and I remember him from the Nexus games. So
that was the assassin player for Singularity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He played Hanzo all night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was him and I think Carsey. I think Carsey was the other assassin.
Yeah, he had some really cool moves, and actually strayed a little different from North America's build path of everything going into scatter arrows, and at 1 through 7, he actually was taking consistently the AoE to the wave to help his wave clear in lane without relying on scatter arrows. And I thought that was an interesting change, but if you watch Singularity play, they really did control the lanes during their games, and I think that's part of it because they knew they didn't need the merc damage to win the objectives when they're just constantly out-rotating the enemy teams.
Yeah. Speaking of Hanzo, I don't know if you've noticed this, but everyone in EU, basically for Hanzo, is going Redemption, then the Q Talent 4, and then Sharpened Arrowheads, whereas NA is mostly full-on W build. And personally, I think that W build is stronger. Just mainly the camp clear, the boss control that you have with that is huge, but wave clear isn't any worse, I think, especially once you complete the quest.
Yeah,
but
no, definitely.
I do see places for the Sharpened Arrowheads build, especially when it's a solo warrior frontline. You have a melee assassin as the other frontline, and you can just poke that tank down and kill him really quickly.
And that was a big thing too throughout the European games. A lot of triple assassin games. Not a whole lot of... we saw some double support or double tank, but we saw a lot of triple assassin. I wish I had taken the time to go through and actually log all the games so I had a little more time, just so I could see the win percentage of that, because that's actually something very interesting for me.
To interrupt you a little bit, Alieska was saying, is there a stuffed animal or something making an appearance in Dagamir's stream? Yeah.
The answer is yes.
It is, from what we've been told, a minion.
It's dead. It's dead. I'm coming clean here. It's a dead minion. I don't like minions. Don't bring them in here. Right?
I don't know why it's hanging there, but it is. It's dead. But yeah, EU has picked up that build a lot, and I think sometimes it can give them problems because it's mainly auto attack focused, and it puts you in a more dangerous situation. And as Hanzo, you're incredibly squishy. I think one of the lowest health pools in the game. So, so with Synergy winning the top 4. Manticore was second, obviously, and then Team Go ended up 2-0ing Valhalla in the 3rd place match.
Now, that's a team I actually want to talk about, because up until the series of Team Go versus Team Singularity, I was like, Singularity needs to win this. When I was watching them play on Battlefield of Eternity, and I want to say the composition was Lucio, Tyrael, Greymane, Dahaka, I think Genji. I want to go stay with Genji. Unless I already named 5 players, in which case I've already named all 5. They went Judgment on Tyrael. And I was like, man, their team name is Go, and their composition was all about going. And I thought, and I was astonished by how well they would just tunnel into these fights. That's not something I see often with amateur teams, when it's everyone just goes for it. It's just snap, go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool to watch. And they were my number 2 pick going in, so I'm really glad they were able to sweep Valhalla.
Yeah. I love that. They're not afraid to just all snap on one decision and just dive.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the aggressive play style, especially coming out of the amateur scene. I think it's needed. I know there were a lot of games that I was watching that dragged on to 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and I'm just just someone do something, please. So, anyway, I digress. Looking back at the whole bracket, there were a few teams that I think looked good, but they didn't make top 4, obviously. Epunks was one of them. If you remember, Blade, who was on Team Expert in Part 1 last year, that's his team. He's the tank player now, I think, instead of the off lane. They looked pretty good. I didn't get a chance to watch too much of them.
I hope they blaze a trail all the way to the finals next week.
Yeah. And then the other one was Granite Gaming, who is let's see if I can find. I know Nape's on it, and he was on Tricked last year as their support player.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the most familiar with all the EU names outside of the 3 big guys, Fnatic and Dig, and whoever the 3rd big guy is.
So on that team is Nape, Raidboz, Minecraft, Kirwa, and Daroff.
I'm already a fan because I love Minecraft.
Ulf. I think it was just Ulf. I recognize Kirwa and Raidboz. The other 2 I don't know, but that's another team that I'm looking at and being like, they could make a splash. They could definitely be that top 2, top 4 in the Open, or just come in as a dark horse in the playoffs and just take everything. But another one that I saw was I got to watch this game with Flavia Felix. Their early game was strong, but I think going into the later game, the decision making, the macro decisions weren't quite there, and I think that was the main cause of them ending up failing to make top 4. I think they made it to the quarterfinals. Yeah, they did.
I know we're going to touch on this more, but I'm going to bring it up right now. Watching the EU games, I feel like the skill cap from the top 4 in EU compared to the top 2 to the rest of the NA is much lower in EU. I don't know if that's a matter of EU Master Race or NA has too many pros. NA will dead. They're dead. Shh. You can hear it here. It's not.
Yeah.
No longer here.
I kind of agree. I think the skill level is it's tighter
Yes.
This would be the best the best word for it.
It's a good word.
Going from, well, I think Dig honestly is on another level, but like going down the line, I think the bottom of EU HGC is a slight step above the amateur division, but there are I think at least 6 good amateur teams in Europe that'll make it competitive, that'll make it interesting every week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the brackets, every week's going to change based on who gets who early on. And I think that's going to be what you're going to look for.
That was one thing. Both EU and NA the first week were like completely randomized.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there was one. It was Granite Gaming. They were playing against Good Game Esports.
Mm-hmm.
Good Game Esport, and like the other admins were telling me like this is going to be a really good game because they're both really good teams, they're both strong. So it was a little unfortunate that they had to play each other first round. But
I can't remember their name. I think it was like Ganellum or Gangalum or something like that. It was one of the first series Singularity did, and they actually took them to 3 games, the eventual winners of the tournament. So
Terra's Rosino was that
it was? Sorry. Yeah, maybe it was their next.
That was the first series that Kirby did.
Yeah, they took them to 3 games, and I think that itself shows like the skill cap, in my opinion, is like this. Whereas NA, we're gonna be like, here's ODI, and here's the other 2 teams.
How many? Would you say that there's a good amount of like ex-pros in the amateur European scene?
I recognize, as I said, there's Blade, Ape. I know Braidboz. I think you played for either TGG or Synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Part 1. Kurwa, I think, was also in. I think there was at least 5 or 6. Different teams.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about like which region has like, you know, NA has like a decent amount of like ex-pro players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like it could just keep getting bigger and bigger every season, where you're going to see more pro players coming down. You know, maybe that's just like it doesn't work out for them up in HGC, and then they make another team in Open. I mean, I think there's a decent amount of players in NA right now, and it could just be that, you know, having that prior HGC experience. Mm-hmm. That's why the top is, you know, the top. That's why it's up there, because there's so many like ex-pros that are like forming these really strong Open Division teams.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know if that's happening in EU, to be honest.
I will say, using that same logic, that's very good news for you, because it means people are kicking them out. So as young blood, you know, you got to get in there, take your spot, fight for it, get them.
Yeah, he's definitely right. So to kind of cap off EU, I want to move into NA, because you bring up a good point about, you know, there's so many pros in NA that it kind of not really clogs up, but it definitely makes NA seem a little bit more one-sided at first. As we found out Tuesday, that's not necessarily 100% true, although yeah. So I kind of want to this is purely for fun. This is nothing serious, but like, give me your way too early predictions for which 2 teams are going to the Crucible, just based off what you saw in week 1.
I mean, I think that's pretty obvious based on what we saw. You know, XD and SMV are definitely the top 2
Sorry,
teams.
EU.
Oh, I don't, dude. I'm NA. I don't know what EU is. That's like up here. I'm down here.
That's why Dunk's here.
You said NA the whole time, and he's just okay. It's gonna be Singularity. It's gonna be Singularity and Go. I'm on the Go hype train. So? I know they didn't finish in the top 2 this week, but they're going places.
Nice. For me, I think Singularity looks pretty dominant most of their games. Obviously, they dropped a couple maps in the first round and in the finals, but I think they'll look to be one of the 2 teams representing. I don't know if they're going to win in the end, though I think they might end up being first place. The other team that I'm looking at, honestly,
Quick, spam your RB.
I don't want to jump on the Manicore hype train, but
ooh.
I think I'm gonna go with you in Team Go. I think going forward, as they keep scrimming, keep getting better, you know, those like their aggressive play style is really good. They just have to kind of balance it out with better macro.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting you choose Manticore because I don't ever recommend that talent. Ever.
Well, neither do I, to be completely honest.
So there you go.
So, yeah, I think it'll be between. It's harder to give a top 2 for you for me. So I'm gonna give 4. I think Singularity's at the top, and then I think kind of basically even at second is Team Go, Manicore, and I want to see Valhalla and Epunks play because I think that decides the top 4 for me. Obviously, all of them are top 4, top 8, so
yeah,
they're all right up there. But
and there's so many names in EU, and like it's literally going to be weeks to come. We'll be able to get a clear picture of what's going on.
So, moving on to NA, the section that Dagomir knows about. First of all, everyone going into this tournament was like, well, SMV is just going to wipe the floor with everyone, right? They're all basically pro players except for Vin.
Mm-hmm.
They should just win easily. Like it's basically HeroesHype 2.0.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
And as we saw, that was not the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was game 3. Game 3 was the Tomb game, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think Jin hit 90% of his hooks that game.
No, it was
which is
crazy to watch.
Insane. I loved the Twitch chat during that game. It was funny. But I was working production for our stream during that, and we were following XD for a good amount of it, and like I got to watch Talking Trees on Genji. That's always a treat for me. I think his Genji is one of the better ones in NA. Jin, I've been following him for over a year now in the amateur scene. He's always been strong, and he's getting better. Like that's his main goal right now, is to be the undisputed best amateur tank, and I think he's close to that. Obviously, you can never stop working towards it because then you're not. Along with that, SMV looked pretty dominant going into the semis, and they didn't really have much trouble in the semis, if I remember correctly. But XD was definitely like a force to be reckoned with. So
yeah, no.
Outside of those two, we have ODI, which is this guy's team. And I thought they looked quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah,
and
no.
then there was NA LOL, or was it those guys in NA LOL? I always get mixed up, and they've been playing in the amateur series for a long time now. I think it's NA LOL. Let me look.
Fourth place?
Yeah, the third, fourth place. Yeah, it was NA LOL.
Yeah, that was like Zergling, Mitchie D's team.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was I think there was two 2-1s the entire tournament. 3, sorry. Oh, there's never mind. I'm just gonna stop talking about that. But basically, what that means to me compared to EU, where there were I think a lot more 2-1s, is that, as we were saying, the skill level is much closer in EU compared to NA. Like, there are a lot of teams in NA that are good, but there's a lot that are also on the step below, 2 steps below, that aren't quite ready for that, and they're they're trying, but they're not going to
So
make it.
interestingly enough, the third best team of that tournament, who got knocked out by XD early, in my opinion, is probably Oh My Science. Shout out to them because unfortunately, like I said, the brackets were randomized. Didn't really have a choice there. But seeing their performance in the HeroesHype Amateur Series, as well as what limited views I've had in their scrims, that is definitely a team that's going to be fighting those top two teams. That is a team that, in my opinion, like it's probably like ODI, OMS, and then SMV and XT, and they are going to be gunning for that Crucible position.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are right now the top four. Outside of that, there are a few teams that I think can make a push at it, but I think they're gonna have to do a lot to break into that elite group.
Yeah.
So, looking at ODI's run, you started with RMU Eagles, which I think was that Mystically Storm team last year. He's not on the team anymore, but that's how I remember it. And then you played Team Maroon, 2 of them, then 7 Carpila, 2 of them, Filled with Determination, 2 of them, and then you lost to XD. So, how did you feel about the games throughout the night? Were they tough? You won the first round. Was that more a warm up?
Yeah.
And you were not quite ready, or was that like an actual tough match for you?
A little bit of both. I'm not sure if like most teams like scrim or whatnot to warm up right before a tournament, but that would probably help us a little. We kind of just like jumped into the tournament, and I mean they weren't a bad team at all. Their team fight was like decent, but I think it was just kind of a jitters thing. Like, we weren't really warmed up, and it wasn't a stomp in any way. So that first game was kind of just like that. But I mean, immediately after that, I want to say virtually all of our games were like pretty one-sided. We felt really comfortable. We were doing really well with our comp, executing, getting kills, getting picks. I mean, even against XD, we had like 1 or 2 early kills on Battlefield before the objective spawn. So, I mean, it felt pretty clean overall until that semifinal.
So going into the XD match, you're feeling confident. You've had a pretty good run so far. What do you think that going forward you can do better to break that and beat them? Like, what do you think it'll take? If share as much as you can. I don't obviously don't share anything that's secret, but
the biggest thing is I think we need to lock in Murky a little faster. I think Murky is like the best champ, at least in NA, but seriously, I think the biggest thing that we needed to work on there was like executing and like making calls like just a second faster. The problem is with these top teams, you can't get away with like getting caught out, and you also can't. There's a little more time to like react to things, but with the top teams, they know how to capitalize on your mistakes, and once they've taken that, that objective or whatever, and they're up 2 levels, you're kind of stuck being behind the entire game until eventually you have to force a fight or you lose to they end it. And I don't know, coming in, our goal was to hit top 4. We knew that we could do it, we wanted to get it, and we did. And then we told ourselves, honestly, yeah, we're not expecting to beat XD because these are some strong players, but we want to see, where we stand. We want to see how they play. And honestly, like, the games, yeah, we lost both of them. We got 2-0'd, but there was really only minute mistakes going on, I want to say, on our part. A gank top where maybe we could have called, care a little earlier. Things like that, like just ganking, for example, like on, might have been, yeah, it was Battlefield of Eternity. Our solo laner got ganked, and then just because of that, we had to give up half the immortal burn, and that's pretty rough. By that point, it's going to be near impossible to get the objective back. So we just wanted to see what they could do. We scrimmed an earlier version of their roster. Jin was putting together a team before this, and he had a complete different roster that we played with like a week ago or so, and we were doing fine. We felt like it wasn't like anything crazy, but clearly he picked up some really talented players. So I think this point forward, it's just going to be a little more on the communication side for us.
Yeah, for sure.
I find that.
Totally... Go ahead.
Yeah, I find that interesting that your solo laner is a feeder, because recently I actually got to step in and play with you guys in a scrim, and I played the solo lane. I didn't die, so I'm a free agent right now. I'm just saying.
Wait, you didn't die as Tyrael?
I don't remember dying. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I can go back and find those games. But I lived. Dunk lives here. Notice how Lauren's not here, so I'm living.
How much did that race change cost you, by the way?
$20 $.
I thought it was 25. Anyway, kind of going back to what you said, I totally agree that as you get higher up in the NA amateur scene, and actually just any scene really, you're going to notice that the teams are much better at capitalizing on mistakes, and that's something that every team has to learn, I think, is how to correctly, like, if you get a pick off, what do you do? Do you push the fort? Do you invade at camp? What do you do? And I think that's one thing that a lot of teams struggle with. They don't have that game knowledge per se to make the right call, and I think that can cost them. And that's why sometimes if you're playing a really aggressive comp and you get a couple picks, you're able to push the fort down, but some teams will back off and not know what to do, and then they lose that advantage that they had. So I think that's one thing that you guys are close to getting. You looked really good when you had strong team fights, but I'm kind of losing my thought process here. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
My dynamic is 3 keeps down, always do mercs. You can't end before you do mercs. Always do mercs. That's your advantage right there. Actually, something I do want to talk about is the new way the hard camp works, the knights, the bruisers work. I saw it a lot more in EU than I did in NA. NA teams would get them and let them push, do their own little thing. EU would almost always push under the magic buff. And I think that's something, I don't know if that's a region thing or if it's just always been the playstyle, but it's the first time I've really seen people using that the magic armor that it gives you now to really try to push an advantage. And I kind of hope that more teams learn from that and take that into their games. Hey, we don't necessarily on Sky Temple get the top camp at 5 minutes when we can get it at 4 and maybe take the top keep or 4.
Or you'll see them get it at 1 minute and push. I know I've seen that several times on Cursed Hollow where teams will get the night camp at 1 minute and push down mid, at least get the mid wall right away and get that experience advantage while they have the other 2 lanes being soaked. So it's definitely interesting to see how people are adjusting still to the gameplay changes from earlier this year, especially on maps with Firebats aren't as strong anymore, so I don't think Braxis is much, but the night camp definitely. Yep. Any map with that night camp, it's definitely interesting. So next I want to transition to look at kind of not really a snapshot, but things that you noticed meta-wise in terms of heroes that you think, just what did you notice the most? What stuck out to you? For me, it was everyone's banning the Shimada brothers, or neither team is banning them, and then you get both.
Yep. No.
What do you think about them in draft, and how powerful they are right now in the meta?
It's pretty much the Shimada brothers and Greymane. We're playing this Trinity Force of tag, you're it. So some teams are willing to ban out one of the 3, or if one of them's already banned, ban out another one of the 3 and just give up the third one because maybe that particular one does something they don't want done in this particular game. But in NA and EU, we really saw the heavy focus. It's you pick Hanzo, you pick G, or you pick Greymane. If you can get more than one, you do so. And it's really leading to this playstyle of, I think, more creating picks, especially with the, I can't remember the name of Hanzo's stun arrow.
Dragon
Zero.
Dragon Strike. Because you now have this long range initiation stun that can hit more than one person, and there's a lot of maps that have like these funnels that it's so easy just to hit that strike and immediately APOC or ETC slides in right afterwards and create those picks. And that's where fast pick kills is where Genji or Greymane really hit hard and true. But Hanzo can do a lot of damage because of the way his scatter arrows work. Reducing the whole enemy team's armor by 25 is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And on such a low cooldown as well. So
yeah. And the chain on the stun for I think it's Dragon Zero or something.
Dragon Strike.
It's Dragon something. Anyway, the chain on that is actually I think ridiculous. How big that thing can be, and it can chain from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like down a line, which honestly I think that's the one thing Hanzo needs nerfed is the range of the stun chain, because it can get sometimes ridiculous. And I think Dragon Zero is the main reason we're seeing a lot more Diablo right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really easy to just take them by surprise with the ult. Like, you don't see it coming. You can shoot it from like really good distance and just dive the enemy team. Mm-hmm. So I think it synergizes very well with Diablo.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in the first time I really paid attention to it and really saw like the combo was in LSU Esports versus, I believe they were playing Oh My Science. They were putting up the Leoric Tomb on a stunned target and then immediately APOCing and just trying to full combo them inside the wall, because the wall can be very useful for really focusing those scatter arrows in like a confined space, on top of the fact that Diablo can do massive amounts of damage anytime he puts someone against a wall. And I thought that was pretty interesting. They even had Tassadar to make it even more wally. They didn't end up winning, but I thought the idea was there and the combo was pretty neat. And I think we're gonna see a lot more of that.
Yeah, just I think for that game specifically, I think the execution was off, but the idea is really the idea is there and it's really good.
Yeah.
So I think we'll start to see a lot more Diablo. But ETC is definitely still the king for tanks right now. And then there's Murden's always going to be a mainstay, though I didn't see him a lot actually.
No, we did not. He played a few games. Like, he was definitely in there, and like he definitely did well when he was in the games. But I think with like the heavy Diablo focus, we saw a lot more Arthuses and a lot more ETC, because that's kind of where they fit in. I think Diablo is a pretty good counter against Murden, because Murden can't bush check as safely as he would against any other tank. Because anytime you get double comboed, it's just dead Murden, dead dwarf.
And going off like the assassin meta that we see right now, Arthas is extremely strong against Greymane, and if he can get on top of Hanzo, he's not getting away.
Exactly. And that's why we're seeing him. Yeah.
And Army's such a good sustain ult. It's on a low cooldown too, so it's going to be up for every fight.
Yep.
So moving forward, support meta. What are you seeing a lot of? I think mostly I've seen Lucio, Stukov, and Alex, and then Rhaegar, obviously, just because Cleanse is still really good. But what have you seen a lot of? And do you see any trends coming up? Like, do you think any changes are going to be coming in terms of supports?
I don't know about changes, but yeah, I've seen tons of Lucio, Stukov, Rhaegar's the pocket pick, some Uther, but I mean it's really just I don't know. I don't see Lucio going anywhere. Like, they would have to nerf something about just his trait. Like, he's just so fast. Like, you can always be faster than the enemy team. So I mean, you see Lucio bans come every now and then too. The team feels like they just need to stop that speed. And then Stukov, you know, his silence just has so much value to it that it's really easy to kind of synergize it with anything like, you know, Arthas route into Stukov silence, you know. And then the thing is about Stukov, he has so much variety with his talents, right? You can go a specific build around like his healing, or you know, or just make the silence bigger and add a route to it. So a lot of lockdown supports, I want to say, or very like versatile supports.
Yeah. For Alex specifically, we're seeing her mainly on shrines.
Yeah.
Whereas I think she can also be great for maps like Dragon Shire, or any map really. Tomb would be another one. Any map where there's a lot of rotations. I've seen mostly either Q or W at one. I have not seen an E build yet.
No.
But I've also consistently always seen Life Blossom at 7. Whereas I've also seen other builds just go full W. I think the most consistent build I've seen so far in competitive play has been W or Q at 1, and then I think her move speed, or like her self move speed at 4,
right,
and then Life Blossom at 7.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't know, I always went, I think it was 20, the health buff, and then I saw June play it in HGC, the upgraded ult, and now like every Alex game I see the upgraded ult. So I don't know if that was him moving it down, or if I was just missing things, honestly, which is more likely.
I think that ties into the fact that she is so scary and strong inside her dragon that anytime you can possibly get her back into your dragon form, which is what the upgraded strike ult does at the end of the duration, as long as you hit 8 targets, which is pretty easy in the middle of a team fight. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
You're going to come out into the fight as soon as you drop down into dragon form, where your healing is so much better, and you have a lot more peel. And then I believe you can then use it again when the duration ends if you have it up. I'm not sure if that's correct.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Alex is that just if you can keep her in dragon form as long as possible, you can win the team fight. I mean, it's just so much healing. And then taking the talent like you said, just keeping the dragon up. That's you're gonna see that mostly being the build.
I don't think it does, but does the 16 dragon talent affect the level 20 to keep her in dragon form longer? I don't think it does, but I've never actually seen the interaction myself, so do you know? Because it's like a 7-second upgrade.
Yeah, it's like 9 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure. We can test it later, but
maybe
it's definitely something to follow up on.
Maybe someone in chat will call us out on it.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you're just flat wrong. But so then there's Uther, you said, and I think that's mainly because of the assassins that we're seeing a lot.
Right.
It's that blow up, not necessarily hyper carry, but lockdown and blow up one person or a couple people, and then you'll see Greymane, Genji, even Sonya can be included in that, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Malthael, I think, is really strong, and I'm excited to see what the changes bring to him, because he's definitely a better laner now on the PTR. And then we have there's not a lot of other melee assassins, I guess. Kerrigan, I guess, would be the other one.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen Kerrigan in the Open Division yet.
I think we're going to see even more Uther going forward. That's really going to be the comeback star, in my opinion. Especially with Malthael receiving buffs pretty soon. Because of his Divine Shield and the focusing on the 1 carry or 2 carries. Or even if, especially since we have CECT, ETC, the Divine Mosh, you want to keep him moshing and keep people stunned. I think he provides so much single target utility that he's one of the best counters to the pick and rotate type compositions we're seeing. And until they kind of die down a little bit, I think Uther's going to be the big star coming out, especially since he adds yet another stun to the pick rotation.
Right.
So along with kind of the comeback star, because Uther was big at the beginning of last year. The other one that was big at the beginning of last year was Malfurion. And since his recent rework, he's also come back. And especially I've seen a lot of him with a solo tracer. I didn't say they were fat. What? What are you talking about?
Said they were big.
They were... They were highly prioritized at the beginning of last year. For a good portion of last year as well. So... Anyway, going past that,
I just dropped a bunch of frames. Give me a second. It's going really fast. I just dropped like 500 frames. The
live though?
It's slide. Yeah, we're live, but it's like slideshow right now.
I think we're alive. Hopefully the audio isn't messed up, but
yeah, it's super.
It looks fine. It looks fine. Oh no, there's a jump. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
It stopped dropping. It should be set now. I dropped like 1,200 frames in a moment, in like a minute. So.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Okay, but everyone can hear us fine, which is the important part.
Yeah.
So Malfurion, I've seen a lot of tracer with him, and not having a TAS. And I really like how he works now. It's more difficult compared to how he used to be, where he's just basically a Q and E bot, and you would W to clear waves. The movement speed at 1 talent, I think, is great for him, because that's one thing that he's lacking is mobility. Especially like when you're going in to do Twilight Dream, it's much harder for the other team to get out, because you're gonna get in position much quicker. He has cleanse again, though it's a little different. It's a reactive cleanse.
Yeah.
Dream, I think, is still the best talent.
Yeah.
For him at 10. Yeah. Although we have seen Trank before.
Yeah.
Once, I think.
I'm surprised we don't see more Garrosh with Malfurion. I really want to see teams go with like a Malfurion cannonball and just launch your tree boy into the air, throw him on them, see that Trank come out, or that Twilight come out, not the Trank. That'd be terrible if he took Trank. I want to see some innovation. I want to see some crazy plays. I think it was Haloran talking about it, where you could play Garrosh with Sonya and throw her in, and it's kind of like she has leap while also having Wraith, so she's just a menace. And I think I want to see more of that kind of stuff. Make it happen, Degamier.
I honestly like to see more Garrosh. I think he still has a spot, but
yeah,
other tanks are just so much better right now. So, but where do you think Malf sits? Is he like tier 1, tier 2?
I do think he's tier 1, to be honest. And it's funny because I kind of like am annoyed with the changes, mainly because he lost Elune's Grace, which was like the range. Just because like you have to be so much closer in the fights now to land your roots. But I do think he's strong, and I think he can be utilized a lot more. I've seen him a decent amount in Hero League, and I think like you said, Twilight Dream is still disgusting. For any scenario where they're clumped up,
even just doing it on target,
right?
It's a great ult. So, are you happy with the support meta right now, or do you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Things change.
I feel like a while back, like when this game came out, Rhaegar was the only support you could play, and then looking at when Uther got that rework, he was the only support you would really want to take, because like the armor was disgusting back then. And I think like over time, even though they've like nerfed supports a decent amount, I still think they have really big impact. And I think now more than ever, there's a lot more diversity for supports.
Yeah, diversity for sure. And then you don't really feel like a heal bot on really any of them, except for maybe Rhaegar. Like, you can't really go in on Rhaegar unless you're going to get the kill.
Right.
Still.
Speaking of heal bots, where is Medic? Where is this backline healer with decent disengage. Where are my global healing medevac plays? Where is medic?
I just think with the meta right now, it's really hard to play medic. Like, what do you do if Hanzo throws his ult and that's it? It hits medic and the whole team dies or she's dead. I feel like it's really hard to play medic with the current meta.
I feel like you should be good enough to drop your medevac. As a medic one trick, I feel like you should be able to.
It's not too difficult to destroy a medevac. It got a nerf where like the health was decreased, and I think now it's like pretty easy for the enemy team to just jump in and wreck it before you even lift off.
But couldn't you dodge the stun that way and then like get out or like quickly hop over?
I mean,
let's be honest. If you're getting hit by the stun, were you frontlining again?
I don't think you have to frontline. I just think there's a lot of ways for the team to like find a way to isolate. Tahaka comes behind, isolates you. That's it. Anything. Sonya jumps over it, hits you. Like there's so much dive right now that it's I don't know, and it's just not
the only map that I see medic potentially being played on is Braxis.
Yeah.
And no one is playing Braxis right now, so I don't think we'll see medic very much until then.
All right, and how about Nana Anna? Where's she at?
Who?
Nana Anna.
Nana Anna. Oh, I think she has her place. I think she's strong. Personally, I really like taking her. And there's this whole idea that right now that she has to be in a double healer comp.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see her played as a solo healer, just in a team that looks to like go in, kill, get out. She also runs the problem of getting dove, except she kind of has some defense. She can put them to sleep. She can reduce their damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Anna does have potential to be seen a lot more in open.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised we don't see her against Alex. Her grenade to deny the healing of her circles. I feel like that's such a perfect counter, and especially with some of these heroes that could really use her stim pack, her nano boost to go into like this hyper play style. Like, imagine a Hanzo who already has the cooldown reduction for his scatter arrows and then also has nano boost. That just sounds scary.
Yeah. Speaking of like her grenade stopping Alex, I played a Hero League game earlier today, and that exact thing happened, and it was the worst feeling in the world. Because I was the tank player, and I'm expecting this big heal to come in, and I'm dead.
Yeah,
because I got nothing. So
yeah, it's interesting you would bring that up, because that was actually a huge thing in Overwatch. People couldn't stand that because she just throws her nano and everyone's dead because your healers are useless. I do think it has a lot of potential in HOTS too. The biggest problem, as always, is that she can just get dosed so hard. Like it's just,
she has no mobility. Medic has a little bit of peel with her grenade, and Ana does too, I guess, with her sleep dart. But that's such a long cooldown.
I'd hate to beat a dead horse, but I feel like Garrosh solves that problem. Just throw your sport away. Wrecking ball her to safety.
Yeah,
maybe.
That could work, I guess.
It seems like a lot of people would rather have, like, the problem is, like, even if it's like, oh, we can go Ana here, it's kind of like, we could take more damage with this supporter. Oh, we can, we can have better, like, utility with Lucio, I don't know. It's just hard.
The last support that, honestly, I'm happy is gone for now, because I saw her so much in 2017 that I'm just, especially like when double support was the thing, is Ariel.
Oh, dude, don't say that. That's my favorite.
Wow, rip, dude.
I am happy Ariel with hyper carry is gone.
I hate that that's gone, dude. Are you kidding me? I miss Ariel
again.
Oh
like,
man,
you'll see her maybe with Cho'Gall.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't like her. I don't like how she plays right now. And her ult, with the amount of dive, as we've been talking about, exists in the meta, that's basically a target.
Mm-hmm.
Once, like, you can time that out, and it's just so hard to to actually properly time it. You have to do it so early in the fight too. I think at this point you can't use it to save someone because they're just going to die.
Yeah. You
have to use it preemptively, and more as like an aggressive damage source than as like a saving tool. So.
Yeah, because it protects them for like 3 seconds, but if you can't follow up, especially if it's like your assassin, you can't follow up or create a pick in that time where like their cooldowns are down, they just come out of it and they die anyway. It's just delays inevitable.
So kind of going back through it, we've talked about I think basically all the sports, but Brightwing.
Yeah.
And I think Brightwing still has a spot. I think those buffs that she had a couple days ago were a little more substantial than people thought, but anyway,
that's a very bold choice, buddy.
It's like Stukov, Alex, Lucio, all the top, and then Luther, Malf right below them, and then everyone else, basically.
Yeah, and then it's also situational on a per map basis, right? I mean, you look at Braxis, and that's like a map where you want to take sustained heals. You know, you don't want to be leaving the lane for mana. So, like, you know, maybe not an Uther, or if you're taking Uther on Braxis, you would take double support. So it definitely depends on the map too.
Yeah. And kind of wrapping that into like the Open Division, I think we're seeing a lot of like group up, big team fight type of plays, and you get a lot of AoE healing from those top 3 healers. And I think that's one of the main reasons they're so popular right now, is because they offer that big giant heal or AoE ultimate that the other team can't really contest it. Whereas if you have an Uther or Malfurion, you don't have that, and it's much harder. So,
yeah.
To kind of close off NA, we talked a lot more about, well, the meta discussion, I guess, was more for both divisions, but once again, I kind of want to give the way too early predictions of who we'll see. For NA, I think more of us have watched that compared to EU, so I think we have a better idea. So how about instead of the top 2, we'll do a top 8? Who do you think will be in the playoffs come the end of part 1 for the Open Division?
Do you want to go first, Don?
Yeah, number 1 choice. I think ODI is going to be in the top 8 somewhere. Don't know exactly where, but 100% ODI. Having talked with those guys, knowing quite a few of them from all my time in the amateur scene, I think you guys have a really good unit, and so long as you stay together and you don't pull in an A-Lol, I think 100% sure you're going to be in the top 8. Definitely going to see XD and SMV, assuming we don't see some wild roster changes, which is really the big fear for amateur teams, is roster changes. You never know when someone's going to get a better offer and just be like, oh, peace. Oh My Science, strong contender. Bring back duo queue. I know they just lost 2 players. Very good solo queue player, solo players and duo players. I think if they pick up some committed players to the scene, that they should definitely have the talent to come up in this league, in this tournament league. I don't really have a full 8. I think I'm gonna go with those 5 for sure. I'm gonna need to see more out of NA, but that's those 5 teams. I think that's where most of the talent's gonna be hanging out.
Okay. Moving on. I've forgotten how to say your name. Dagomir, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. What do you think? If not top 8, give me 4.
No, I mean, I can give you a couple. I don't know all the teams right now because, like, we just started, and we're going to see a lot of teams disbanding this, like typical NA fashion, and we're going to see a lot of new groups come up last second and maybe perform well. I don't know. Yeah, SMV, definitely. XD, I think we're going to be there. I think Oh My Science is a really good team. And then, I mean, I wanted to say, like, maybe NA LOL somewhere at the bottom top 8, but, like, they broke up. I think Gazua is another team that's, like, pretty decent. We just scripted those guys, and I saw some stuff that I liked. So that was, like, what, 6 or 7? I really don't know. It's like Fan Long and
Oh, okay.
Okay.
yeah. I don't know. That's really all I've seen so far. So I guess we'll see as the weeks go by.
Yep.
It was Heyoon and Danlong. I know those two.
Yeah.
Blue Demon, I think, is like, I see him a lot as a support player in Hero League. So
You know, I left him out. I do actually have a 6 team that would actually go really well in the Open. If they stay, I don't know how long they're going to play the Open, but LSU Purple, the LSU dorm team, definitely top 8 contender. They just picked up Shot from ASU, and they have a pretty seasoned team. And I think once they break out the kinks, I think we can see some good stuff from them.
To kind of echo what everyone else is saying, XD and SMB are the top 2 right now for me, just based off of what I saw in week 1. ODI, like right there at 3rd. And NA LOL, as we've said, it broke up. So I'm interested to see where those guys go. Those guys as in NA LOL, not the team, those guys. I think Oh My Science is probably 4th. Like, I guess tied with you, 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, definitely.
You're about even. And if anyone doesn't know, Oh My Science is Battery, who is on Even in Death in HGC. They also have Hasho, who I think is a really strong contender for one of the best tanks in the amateur scene right now. They also have Troy 1010, who's a strong assassin player. Dark Chimera, who's a former pro as well. To go back to, there's a lot of former pros in the HGC amateur division. After those 4, I think, let's see, LSU, again, Shot's a recent pickup for them, and he played on Flame is Lame last split, and they were top 4, I think, in standings at the end. And I'm interested to see how that team develops, because I know they recently brought him on, so the synergy might not be there. And I know Vicuri, who's their carry player, has been working incredibly hard. I've been playing a lot with him. He's become one of the better players, one of the better assassin players, I think, in the amateur division. And then, let's see, TMG Red, who Lauren and I talked with their tank player Doctor a couple weeks ago. I think they're looking to be in top 8 for sure. One team that I am looking forward to see how they do is bring back Duoq, and that I think is not going to be their official name, because it's Kevin and Toby, who won Dorm last year, and then Droplets is staying on the team. Juki, as far as I know, is going to be on a team. He was just playing with them for fun this week. Like, they just made the team for fun.
Yeah.
Which is always, I think, kind of scary for Kevin and Toby, because they can ruin a lot of people's tournaments. And then Huge was just there for fun as well. So they're keeping the core 3, so they're keeping their points, which is important, by the way. If you don't know, you can make changes, but you have to keep 3 of the original team together, or you lose your points. So hopefully that doesn't happen to our top 4. I'm hoping they all stay together throughout the entire thing and get better, and really make a good competition. Skolix said Juki is trying for a team. I know he is. I think he was waiting for some things to go through. So I didn't get to see Gazua play, though I know the team, like, the players are good. It was Storm. I think they were waiting for Thesis at the moment, and I think he was going to be with them. For those who don't know, Storm picked up Deadly Kittens, who was at BlizzCon. So I think them coming to NA will definitely increase the competition. I think it'll be good. I'm excited to see what Kevin and Toby do. They're looking for 2 players right now, so their team isn't complete, but I'm hoping that they get a full 5 stack soon. And come into the Open Division seriously. Like that's one thing. Knowing Kevin is that he's not trying terribly hard, but I've talked to him today and yesterday, and he really wants to try and win, and he's taking this seriously. And I know he's tanking, whereas before I don't think he was going to be. So
that's good. Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, those are my top teams right now, looking at it.
Yeah, and I think it'll definitely over the next few weeks. I think it's going to be up to the 3 through 6 teams to really try and get some scrims with the 1 and 2 teams, and or scrim each other a lot, and definitely find some way to break up the rankings. I think there's a lot of talent in NA that hasn't gotten their shot, or they haven't quite found those partners that really exploit each other's strengths. And I hope that they do. Like, I think ODI, all of these players are coming from different teams and a lot of background in the amateur scene. And I think their performance now was really saying, hey, we've always been this good. It's just we didn't have the players that really matched us until now. So,
so with that, I want to move in to the end of the show and do shout outs. So we'll start with you, Dagomir. What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to shout out?
All right. Shout out to my boys on the team, of course. Radiant, Woven, Fleshy, Fancy. Our coaches and managers, Ramadi and Liquid. Shout out to Dunk for getting me on here. Shout out to my boy Squash. And then shout out to all my followers, Dagomir_Hots, Twitch Hero League Grind. Let's go, baby.
Sweet.
That's it.
Dunk, or not Haloran, as we've come to know in the past hour or so. Where can people find you, and give us some shout outs?
I'm going to start up my new channel. It's going to be twitch.tv/nothaloran. For now, you can follow me at twitch.tv/dunkstick. I do not use a C in stick. It is just STIK. I stream Wednesday through Fridays. You can catch me during the night. I'll be following up with this podcast for the next following weeks with Arky, and that'll be exciting. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, and I'm really good at fake tweeting just alongside Arky. So, make sure you give me those likes, get me on the screen. I appreciate it.
All right. Lastly, me, Argy Hots, as it says on the screen. I'm the only one that's correct, I guess. That's my Twitter, also my Twitch. You can find me occasionally streaming. I don't stream a lot compared to what I used to, but you'll see me mostly active on Twitter, mainly during the weekend. I like to get on the screen a lot.
How's your tweet game?
Well, week 1 I had 7 on the screen.
Woo.
Last week I only had 1, so I'm getting 4 on average a week.
That's good.
I'm pretty happy with that.
I made a Twitter for specifically for HOTS, and let me tell you, I suck at it. I don't know who to follow, how to get the word across. So
hashtag, bruh. Hashtag small streamer. Hashtag Heroes of the Storm. Hashtag HGC.
Small streamer community. Hashtag follow for follow.
So, to kind of cap off the show, make sure to follow us here if you haven't already. We're going to be having HH Live every week, every Wednesday moving forward. The day after the Open is finished, we'll be talking about the Open specifically, and anything around it, any news about it, any rosters that we see, anything, just anything. And if you have any topics for us, make sure to send it to HeroesHype on Twitter, and we'll look to bring it up. As well as we have our own stream along with the Blizz Heroes stream for the N8 Open Division. And then starting Monday, I believe, we're going to be doing our own stream for Europe as well. So if you want to catch even more games, you'll be able to on our channel as well as Blizz Heroes. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming out and checking out the podcast. It's been a little different not having a Lauren, but I think Dunkstick filled in pretty fantastically. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Have a good night, everybody.